Hello and welcome to the season-ending edition of the Josh Ho Show. I'm your host, Tay Nash, and with me is Coach of the Massillon Tigers, Coach Hose. We want to thank our season-long sponsor, Reliable Heating and Cooling. Coach, welcome to the show.
Tay, I'm really excited to have you on here today with us.
You know what? I'm happy to be here too. Coach, your Tigers saw their season come to an end last week, losing to Massillon in the district semifinal. Your team finished the year with 15-9 record. Let's start with your first tournament game and home over Hudson. Tell us more about the game.
So you're talking about our home win over Hudson here, first round. We took a bye, so it was our second round. Essentially, they beat Stowe in the first game. So it was kind of tough because that week we're preparing. You're kind of looking at both teams, and you got two teams that play similar but styles, but they have a little difference. So we were kind of prepping for Hudson and Stowe, and then after Wednesday, we knew who we were playing. So we went into that game knowing they wanted to slow the game down, and we couldn't let them do that because, just nature of the game is going to play more into their hands. So we came out and pressed them a little bit. It helped we got up early. We got on a good run to start the game, and then we never trailed the whole game. And our guys played one of the best defensive games I've seen since I've been here. I think we had them down. We gave up a layup right before halftime. It would have been 9-point half, but we ended up giving up 11 the first half. Came out and then just kept our. I've had a history of kind of coming out slow in the second half if we have a lead, but our guys came out on fire and extended that lead out, and just a really, really gritty, awesome team win that showed a lot of versatility with our team, and it got back to getting, seeing the ball go through the hoop. A couple guys hit some threes. Luke, is coming on here in a little bit. Grant Handham hit a couple, hit 4, I think. Got it going there, and just multiple guys seeing the ball go through the hoop, which we are struggling with. So, really good win in a tournament to close out a sectional final and getting back into districts for our program.
Okay. Then in the district semifinals, your team went on the road to Massillon, losing to the Comets by 10 points. Can you summarize that game for us?
Well, I think that game, really in the first couple minutes of the game, they get up on us 10-0, and they were on fire. A couple shots that fell in, it hit the rim. I looked away a couple shots to see if our rebound position was good because I thought they were coming off the rim, and then I see them fall through the net. And so, when you have shots going in like that, it's going to be kind of a tough game, and they're a good team. So, going into it, we knew we had to defend the three-point line. We had to take care of the basketball. We didn't do either one of those in the first half. So we get down 17 at half, had 18 turnovers at halftime. Challenged the guys to come back and respond. And, we played really hard the second half, even going down to, I think they got us down to 20, 23 points in the fourth quarter, and then we battled all the way back to 8. And in the last minute or 2 minutes of the game, we had it to 8. I had a really good look. Vari had a good look on the wing. They cut it to 5. Didn't go in. So we never got closer than that. But I give our kids a lot of credit because I think there's teams that we get down like that or have a night where we're not shooting it well, and I think they end up shooting effective field goal percent was 64.9% to our 44.2. And so how we combated that was we turned them over. We offensive rebounded well, got to the foul line, kind of just scrapped it up, and kind of indicative of our team. Just a scrappy group of kids that found a way to get back in the game. And I can't fault the effort. Our kids played really, really hard against a team that was hot on their home court. And I think we went out swinging. And that's what we asked the guys. If we're going to go out, let's go out, fighting. And they did that. And so hats off to Massillon. They played a great game. Good team with some talented players. And they had it going that night. And tough loss any time at the end of the year. But like I said, I give our kids credit for going out fighting.
Would you mind sharing with us what you told the team following that tough loss?
End of the season talks are always tough because I've been in both locker rooms where you've kind of gone into the game and you're struggling and you've kind of know this is probably our last game of the season. And then you have other teams like this year, last year, where you feel like, okay, this may not, you have a good chance to keep going. So it's nothing scripted or prepared. And I think I went in there and we got talking and just, I kind of acknowledge our seniors. I think our senior group deserved that. They've been a special group for our program, for myself as a coach. They were sophomores when I came in and just developed a bond with a lot of them. And so I just want to acknowledge each one of them individually, what they've done and what they meant to the program and to me as a coach. And so, the emotions after a game like that are kind of funny. And you lose them sometimes. I tried to keep my composure the best I could. I love these kids greatly, and so that was a tough talk. But they, like I said, they just have meant the world to this program. With me starting out as a first-year coach here, I've grown with these guys, and so I wanted to, just commend them for their efforts and their contributions over the years, and also like kind of put the onus on our young guys, our juniors and sophomores, like, hey, it's your team next year, and you guys got to do all the work that these guys have put in and have carried the flag for us, and so it's kind of that transition talk a little bit, but it was a really good locker room talk afterwards. Luke has always been a great leader for us. I know he talked to the team before we got in there, and he talked to him when we were in there. He has a great message, and it was a healthy locker room. Some emotions, a lot of hugging. I love you, all that stuff that you do at the end of the season. But I think there was a lot of genuineness in those exchanges.
Nice. How about an update of the freshman and junior varsity team and how they finished their season?
So freshmen ended up 12-8. They had several shutdowns. They had kind of a bumpy year. They had a 2-week shutdown early in December. I think we were scrambling to get games at the end of the year, trying to catch up, and their schedule was kind of crazy. They were playing 2 games right off of 2-week shutdowns and all that stuff. All in all, though, I think they had a really great year as far as development and guys being in and out of the lineup, injuries and all that stuff. They've had that. So looking forward to, they have some really good guards in that group. They have a couple bigs that I think could help as we move forward the next year or two. Developing, just Zach Liebler's a kid, and Carlin Green got to play a little JV for us this year both, and they bring a ton of energy on the defensive end of the court. So looking forward to seeing a couple of those guys moving up. Filling some roles on JV and possibly varsity next year. Our JV team, Smitty had another good year with them, and they were 13-8 overall. And JV's kind of that funny level because we're putting guys down there and we're pulling guys out of there. It just kind of that influx. Say, hey, Smitty, you got this kid for 2 quarters, and you got this kid for 3 quarters. So. All in all, they had a good year. They kind of hit like a lull in the middle of the season where they were struggling. Some of that's identity-wise. We pulled Jay Crable, who was a big contributor for them, off of their team, and then threw a couple guys into the mix that Smitty had to readjust some of their rotations and stuff like that. Him and Coach Combs work on that. And but all in all, successful year at both those levels. And looking forward, those guys are going to have to step up and fill some big shoes next year and the year after.
Yeah. In a moment, we'll be back. Tiger senior guard Luke Sabo, but first words from Reliable Heating and Cooling.
Everything that goes into a Lennox system is engineered for absolute comfort. Like the parts that create your perfect temperature and humidity, or the parts that purify the air. Together, all these parts save you up to half off your heating and cooling bills. And there are few things more comforting than that.
The future of home comfort is here now at Reliable Heating and Cooling. Get the latest innovation and technology at Reliable.
Lennox. Innovation never felt so good.
Thanks to Reliable Heating and Cooling, and welcome back to the Josh Host Show. Our Tiger player this week is senior guard Luke Sabo. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Luke, I know it was tough seeing this season come to an end last week. Can you summarize what it was like going through this season while everyone was dealing with this pandemic?
It was definitely a different year for all of us, especially, that for football. It was definitely different, not having a lot of people at the games. It was just a whole different type of atmosphere. But it was fun, even though, it wasn't the most ideal type of season, us and the seniors and everybody else, coaches, we tried to have as much fun as possible, and we had a great time this season. We wanted to get to that district game, but like Coach said earlier, we went out fighting, and we could feel good about that.
Understand. What life lessons will you take with you after playing under Coach Hose this past several seasons?
Well, there's definitely many. Coach Hose is a great mentor beyond basketball, and he did a good job of teaching us things, like I said, that are bigger than basketball, and that'll take us through our next steps in life. Definitely, I'd probably say the main thing is, really I would have to say, just doing everything with full intent, like having good intentions. When you're out there in the world, it can be a difficult place to, be good to people and be nice. But I think, he really got the message across that, when when you do the right things, good things will come back to you. So.
Yep. There were a lot of seniors on this team. What is your message to them as y'all all move forward?
Well, I mean, they all know what the love is between each other. And I talked to them after the game, and just appreciating them and the time they gave, to this program. All of us came up together, so it's been definitely been a great ride. But probably really the same thing, just wherever they go, making sure they're doing the right things, and whether it's getting a job, having a family, whatever it is, going about it the right way, doing the right things, and understanding it won't be easy. You will fall down, you will fail, but you always have guys like us to fall back on.
Right. What about the underclassmen? If giving a chance, what would your message be to them?
Well, like Coach Ho said before they got in the locker room after our tough loss, I basically was just kind of, that passing of the torch down to them, saying we built this, we kind of built this culture up of this program and how we wanted to build things. Don't let it fall back down. Keep it going. Put in the time, put in the work, and trust what you're doing, and good things will come.
That's true. After graduation this May, what are your plans moving forward?
Well, it's kind of interesting. So right now I'm verbally committed to go play baseball at Marietta College, but hopefully here we'll be able to get some film out to some coaches for basketball, and I still have my senior season left for baseball and my summer season as well. So we'll see what happens, but like I said, I'm just going to keep trusting the process, working hard, doing what I got to do, finishing up my last year of high school, and see where it takes me.
Thanks for joining us, Luke. Coach Hose will rejoin the show when we return after this timeout.
Oh, it's on. Release the meteor!
He's looking at you, kid.
I dig it.
That felt pretty great.
And welcome back to the Josh Ho Show. Coach, we just spoke with senior guard Luke Sabo. It's always difficult saying goodbye to your seniors. Tell us what Luke and this senior class meant to you, to the Tigers basketball program.
Well, we kind of touched on it earlier, talking about after the game, message to the kids. I think these seniors know how I feel about them as a coaching staff. They've been huge for us because, again, sophomore year, and it kind of said with these guys when they were sophomores, they kind of had to take ownership of the team a little bit with the injuries and some of the decisions we made to get rid of some guys and put people in some bigger roles. And Luke is a kid that beginning of the year, his sophomore year, he wasn't playing a ton, but by the halfway point, he was a starter or a key sub for us coming off the bench. Darian Williams, another senior that was injured this year, but he was a 2-year starter for us coming into this year, and fought his butt off to get back and get healthy. I mean, the kid's amazing. 5.5 months after an ACL surgery, and he's back playing 15 minutes a game for us by the end of the year. And I don't think that Darian did it just because he wanted to just not necessarily only play basketball. I think he loves these guys. He loves the sport, and I think it was a challenge for him. He's a kid that just wanted to see, hey, I can do this. And so he lost his whole senior year in football with the injury, and I think he just wanted to get back and have some taste of competitive, sport his senior year. Nikki Liebs, a kid that lost his sophomore year in basketball with an injury, fought back. It affected him a little bit last year with football. He didn't play as much as he probably would have had he had not had the ankle injury. But love that kid and his grit and his toughness. And when you talk about our team, you look at the Grant Hannums and Vari and Sabes, Liebs, Darian, and you talk about all that. The grittiness of our team is our seniors. Our kids were fighters, and they didn't always look great. But the result was always good at the end. Most of the time, and we were never out of a game at all this year. No matter what, there's several times we were going to get blown out, and these guys would just scrap it up. And and fight to get back in a game. It looked like we were about to get blown out, and I give them a ton of credit. And I can't say enough about what they've meant to this program because, when I look at what our program wants to be, it's these guys. A kid like Sabo, I mean, Luke did so much for us this year as a senior captain. He played some point guard for us. He was, our leading scorer. Sometimes he was our leading rebounder. He was our guy. We're saying, Luke, you got to guard their best offensive player. I mean, we put a ton on his plate, and he never shied away from it. He never, complained. He wanted more. He was always willing to take more responsibility and more. And plus, on top of that, we're on top of him, challenging him hard. And when you can coach your best players hard, you have a good team. And so Luke took that, and he knew, there's love behind our challenges and love behind our pushes towards him to make him better because. We wanted him to be great, and we wanted to use him as an example because we knew that the team would follow his lead. And so when you talk about a senior class, this class is special. You guys saw it in football. I mean, it's just a good group of kids. They're good in school. They're good in the community. They're good in the practices, good in the weight room.
Good leadership.
Yeah, great leadership, absolutely. So they've meant a ton to this program.
There are still 2 Stark County Division I teams playing in the tournament. Your Tigers played both of the teams during the regular season. What are your thoughts on Hoover and Jackson as they both play tonight in separate games in the regional semifinals?
Sure. It seems like a year ago we played Jackson. It seems so long ago because it was back in December. But a really talented team, really long, playing well right now. Came out of the toughest district out of the 3. They were the 3 seed, and they had the 4, 5, and 6 seed all in their district. So they came through a tough bracket, and that always helps you at this time of year. And then you got Hoover, who we played towards the end of the season. Hoover's probably the hottest team in the area right now. Beat McKinley twice in the last couple weeks, beat us. Just has been playing really, really well. And they're just a group of kids that just play well together. They're kind of that just total team effort. Different leading scorer almost every night type thing. They've lost their point guard, who was one of their best outside shooters, and they just took that in stride and kept going. And so. It's going to be interesting to see how things match up. I know, Jackson's got a really tough matchup with Menor. And Menor just scores the ball a ton. Beat Solon, who beat us by about 21 or 20 points. So that will be a tough matchup to see how well they can stop their 3-point attack and take care of the ball. And then on the flip side, you got Medina playing North Canton, and Medina's one of the best teams in the state as well. They got one of the best players is Corey Tripp, who, I think he made all kind of highlights on SportsCenter with the dunk he had over guys. So he's made a name for himself. But it's going to be interesting matchups tonight. I mean, both the Stark County teams representing us well. And, I mean, they got 2 tough matchups. But it'll be interesting to see, if you see one of those 2 or both those teams squaring off to go down to Columbus next week.
Right. As we look ahead to next season, who are some of the guys you'll be counting on to lead the way of the team?
For sure. Well, 2 names that started for us at the end of the year that I think kind of, that's going to be obvious choices. You talk about Ardell Banks, who once, Jaden Bowd left, JB left, and he was our leading scorer, rebounder, assists, steals, all that stuff. So we knew we had some big shoes to fill, and Luke, stepped up and filled that. All our seniors kind of took a piece of the pie there. But Ardell was probably the one that stepped up and took, more minutes, more rebounds, more scoring. And I think once we looked at the second half of the season, once Jaden left, next to Luke, Ardell was our next rebounder, and he's second best points per game. Rebounds per game, all that stuff. He just picked up a big piece of that, and had a lot of double-digit scoring nights for us. So he's a big corner piece to what we're doing. We've had just a good year with him. Seen a lot of growth from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And he has some more, we've already talked about, stuff he needs to do for next year to continue to develop. And then Jay Crable, who came in and started for us the last 5-6 games of the year as a sophomore, who missed his whole freshman year with a shoulder injury. So, Jay came in, kind of earned some stripes on the JV team, got his feet wet at the high school level, and then eased into the varsity. Again, once JB left, we knew we had we needed a guard, another big guard that could play multiple positions, and Jay fit that criteria. So those 2 guys, Caden Edwards, another sophomore who had to sit second half of the year, I think could have probably seen some minutes for us down the stretch in the second half of the year with just having another big in there, can score the ball, and he's had to miss freshman year injury, and half this year with he could still practice but couldn't play. So he's going to have, hopefully grow up real quick next year. And then our junior class is going to be seniors next year. Key guys I think there jump out to me are, Nate Watkins, Tanner Pierce, and Curtis Miller that have been with the varsity all year, playing some JV minutes. When you have 9 seniors, or whatever, I think it ended up being 9 by the end of the year. You have some big shoes to fill, and so they had to sit behind them a little bit. Hopefully, they learned a little bit about what that takes, and I'm hoping they could make the strides, kind of like Vari and Cam did, Cam Berge and Vari Moore, where they played some JV last year, a lot of JV minutes, and then stepped in and played big varsity minutes for us. And so I'm hoping to see that happen with those 3 seniors. And there's a lot of X factors out there in that current junior and sophomore class that you guys see who develops, and even the freshmen. There's going to be shoes to fill, and there's going to be holes opportunities out there. So, that's the fun part of the off season. And so, guys that want to grind and get in the gym, get better, could have an opportunity to see some major minutes for us.
Yep. And finally, let's talk about next year's schedule. Do you see that changing any much?
I think we're going to keep most of the core things together. It's funny, I was just working on that a little bit throughout the last couple of days here, and trying to get it ahead of a schedule as much as possible. And I think a lot of the Federal League teams will keep most of them. The teams we play year in and year out will keep. And then there's always a couple changes. I think we added like Wadsworth and, I'm trying to think who we just added. Coventry, New Philly. There's some teams that, every year you're going to add like 3 teams, lose a couple teams. And so reaching out to a few and just kind of waiting to hear back from them right now. And being an independent, try to get ahead of it as much as possible. I'll try to get that thing done hopefully, in March or April. Yeah. And, and then don't have to worry about it. But pretty much I think you'll see 75% of the schedule will probably be similar to what we had this year, just maybe the dates will change.
Okay. Thanks, Coach. As we wrap it up this season in the edition of the Josh Ho Show, we want to thank Reliable Heating and Cooling for being our sponsor again this season. Thanks to Coach Hose and senior guard Luke Sabo for joining us this week on the show. I'm your host, Tay Nash. We will see you next season on the Josh Ho Show. Thanks for watching, and always, go Tigers.
Massillon City Schools is proud to have one of the top career technical education programs in the state of Ohio, recently receiving a #1 ranking of the 93 districts in the area of achievement. Our Career Technical Education Department offers 14 pathways preparing students for college and careers. All students have the opportunity to participate and compete in their career technical student organization, as well as obtain valuable experience in the field while earning aligned industry credentials and/or college credit in high school. Visit massillonschools.org for more information.